big story today is the fact that an Iranian paedophile who is described as a danger to the community has fought to stay in the UK for 14 years, claiming he cannot be deported because guess what? He's converted to Christianity. This is a tool that is being used. Maybe he is a God-fearing, completely committed Christian. That may well be the case. I'm going to be just a little bit skeptical about this. He's fought a 14-year asylum battle, claiming he cannot be deported. He's tattooed with a cross. He's 45 years old, and he is banned. We can't name him because of a court order. He was baptised just 11 days before he lodged his latest legal appeal to stay in Britain. Well, Harjap Singh Bhangal is an immigration lawyer. Thank you for joining us this morning, Harjap. What do you make of this story?
Well, it's just, something that's going through the appeal process at the moment. It's still going on. So we've had a judge, we've had the Home Office refuse him, we've had him presenting new evidence, we've had a judge accept him, we've had a judge overturn that decision, we've had a judge now saying, well, we need to relook at that decision. So it's still going through the courts, and, there's absolutely no decision on it at the moment. There is sort of evidence to say that maybe someone from the church did give evidence in his appeal to say he was a committed Christian and he'd made good progress and good commitment towards Christianity whilst in prison. And that was the evidence which was taken by one of the judges into account, but discounted by another judge. So this guy, obviously, while still fighting to stay here, he's being believed by one judge and being totally not believed by another judge. And that's where we are at the moment.
This is in the context as well as the chemical attack suspect Abdul Azadi, who we think is dead. We think he's in a river somewhere. His body is in the Thames. That's the police say that's the most likely outcome. But he was granted asylum after claiming to have converted to Christianity. He had 2 convictions for sexual assault. And what is happening is that these people are saying, because I have a conviction for sexual assault, or in this case, paedophilia, is talking about the Iranian paedophile, I can't go back to Iran, I can't go back to where I was going to go because of the treatment that I will have. Many people would see this as absurd, that this is a grounds for not being sent back to your own country. What do you think, Harjap?
Well, it looks like he's trying to stay here on that basis and saying, look, well, I'm going to get killed. But then a lot of people say, well, he should have thought of that before abusing children.
Yes.
So he should have thought of all of the consequences of his actions.
But the system's to blame here, isn't it? I mean, he's to blame because he's a horrible, evil person who has abused children. But if we have a system that allows him to stay in the UK because of that, that to me is abhorrent.
Well, the fact is there's many individuals that get convicted, but they don't all convert to Christianity. If we look at the figures that the Home Office have released, it's about 300 people who are claiming to be Christians at the moment who have converted at the moment, possibly out of foreign offenders, out of perhaps 11,000. So it's a very, very minute percentage. Many people
it's still a lot. I mean, it's still a significant number of people, and maybe a small percentage, but this is being used, or appears to be being used, as a weapon. Look, these people may be very, very committed Christians. They may be from well-meaning people within the church. You think, wonderful, they've seen the light, they've converted to Christianity. But on the Bibi Stockholm, for example, there are 40 people who've converted to Christianity, or say they've converted to Christianity. I mean, this is being used as a tool to stay in this country.
Ultimately, the judges have got to decide. And as you know, in this case, judges don't always believe it. And in this case, we have a decision where the judge says, actually, I'm very skeptical of your actions, and I don't believe you've acted very much in a Christian-like manner, and that this is all very coincidental, your conversion. So it is ultimately dependent upon the evidence. Now, if you've got vicars or you've got priests on one hand saying, well, hold on, he's a committed Christian, and you've got the Home Office arguing, well, this is all coincidental, that is for the judge to decide upon all of the evidence taken into account. And necessarily judges' decisions aren't final. They can be overruled by other judges. And despite all of this, people can still be sent back. So once again, it is the system, in the fact that people will always try to game a system, always a minority. It doesn't matter what system, is it asylum system, the tax system, the offshore system. We know that. The housing system, the benefit system, people will try to game that. But it's up to the government, ultimately, and the officers and the machinery in charge, the executive in charge, in this case, the Home Office and the judiciary, to make sure that people don't game the system and to make sure that justice is done.
but they're just not doing that, Harjap. This is the problem. I mean, you look at Abdul Azadi, for example, who had 3 appeals. We don't even know and haven't got clarity. We've been asking whether the Home Office actually attended that court hearing for his 3rd appeal. And if the Home Office don't attend, well, then he automatically stays in this country. He is someone who is a sex offender, who was able to stay in this country, and then apparently, and I mean, he hasn't been arrested, we think he's dead, carried out a chemical attack. That's certainly what's alleged here. We are a compassionate country. There are plenty of asylum seekers who come here who are given asylum. That's fine. I'm happy with people being given asylum by this country. That's a reasonable thing. But this sticks in the craw of so many people who pay their taxes, who do what they're meant to do, that there are people gaming the system. How can it be dealt with? What does the government have to do to fix this particular aspect of a system where there are so many problems, Harjap?
Well, you and me know, Peter, you're a political commentator. You know very well that the Home Office is not fit for purpose. For the last 10 years, we've had a Home Affairs Select Committee report tell us that. So the people in charge of the Home Office tell us this machinery is not fit for purpose. There's a lack of investment. There's a lack of training. There's a lack of skills in the Home Office. There's a lack of specialism. And like you've said, a lot of the time, the Home Office don't even turn up to appeals to fight their corner. And if they did, then perhaps there'd be different outcomes. So it's a lack of the fact that machinery is broken. Now, we can't expect a broken machinery to produce a fantastic product. It just is not going to happen. The whole factory needs to be closed down and rebuilt and restructured again. And until that is going to happen, we are going to get cases like this. We've had barristers in charge of the Home Office, Suella Braverman. We've had a solicitor in charge of immigration. But however, these guys seem to be unable to deal with it too. So it just beggars belief that if we've got lawyers who are in charge of a legal system and they can't stop this, then perhaps it is the machinery that is to blame. We know that the machinery doesn't work. We know that removal rates are down, consistently down. If you look at the graph from 2010 to 2022, you'll see a downward curve, almost from, say, 11,000 to 3,000 in relation to foreign offenders. And what we've got is it a lack of political will? I would say it's a mixture of everything, a lack of political will, and it's also a lack of the fact that there's an infrastructure, there's a system that doesn't work well, and there's no training, like I said, there's no investment in it. And until that is rectified, until we have a government which is going to rectify all this, instead of decimating it over the past 14 years, then perhaps the system won't change.
Okay, Harjap, thank you very, very much indeed for your thoughts on that. Appreciate that. That's Harjap Singh Bhangal, who is an immigration lawyer.